Hello, my name is Christopher Callahan, and today I will be demonstrating my philosophy of teaching reading and writing in a middle and secondary education ELA classroom. First, I would like to talk about my reasoning for becoming an English educator. To me, it is arguably one of the most rewarding jobs available in the workforce. Unlike most occupations, I actually have a choice to provide an alternative perspective for younger generations on the subject of reading and writing. I aim to turn students into avid readers and writers in and outside of the classroom. Although I may not be capable of making a difference nationwide, I strive to be part of the change on how the subject of English and language arts is taught by introducing new tactics in my future classroom. There are many factors as to why I must teach as well. There is a desperate need for educators across the nation. More and more teachers are retiring or hanging up their hats, which leaves less educators to guide students to becoming successful leaders. The American education system is flawed in the ways they prioritize standards over student needs. Without a positive role model, students are guaranteed to fall behind when it comes to reading comprehension and writing proficiency. Students need to love reading and writing. These two areas are the most valuable skill sets one can have no matter the field they end up in. Today, most students do not read what is assigned to them. In fact, most students don't read at all. Reading has become more of a chore than enjoyment to most scholars. Assigned books are seldom read through, as websites like SparkNotes, CliffNotes, and Wikipedia have replaced the need for students to spend hours reading an assigned book. Schools tend to habitually ignore the interests of young readers, which forces them to read a book from early history that does not interest them. All too often, students are given an old book and are told to read the book quickly in order to fulfill a larger assignment later on. Reading has been turned into another grueling assignment for students to fulfill, and it has to stop. Although the required reading has to be done, students need to be introduced to reading in a far more positive light. From the beginning of the school year, students need to be given complete control of the literature they read in the classroom. Rather than the teacher handpicking all the books, the teacher needs to establish trust in their students in order to find a book that works for them. The teacher needs to listen to what they want in order to establish trust for future reading assignments. One way to effectively draw students to become more avid readers is to create an in-class library. If at all possible, stock the library with books that students would be interested in reading. Host book talks to introduce students to new books that they may not have ever heard of. Penny Kittle inspired this tactic in her 2013 text, Book Love, which talks about the importance of creating a community of readers and establishing a relationship between their interests and the literature itself. The teacher also needs to facilitate silent reading each day, even for 10 minutes at a time. It creates a daily routine for students to pick up a book and read it for a handful of minutes. So when they are not in the classroom, there is a good chance they will pick up a book at home and continue the ritual. Unfortunately, on top of the lack of reading, students are often afraid of writing. Students are left alone when given a writing assignment. They are provided very little guidance, which turns it into a devastating task. Rapid deadlines and strict submission processes produces rushed work with no added character to the writing itself. Forced topics also keep students from writing passionately about the subjects they may be proficient in. When a topic is forced upon the student, all creativity has been eliminated. The student will simply write down what is necessary in order to achieve a grade, and that is it. Students require guidance when given a writing assignment. For middle and high school students, the word essay can be quite terrifying. Essays are high-stake assignments that can make or break a student's overall grade in a class. But it does not have to be such a terrifying task. The teacher needs to provide a plethora of advice with various writing tactics that can enhance student writing capabilities. Teachers need to encourage creativity rather than hitting predetermined points on a direction sheet. Educators need to explore various topics by hosting private discussions with their students in order to find out what interests them. It is important to have students write about the things that interest them in order to introduce writing as something beyond the realm of typical classwork. When grading writing assignments, educators need to be mindful of their students' writing. Young writers are self-conscious of their work, especially if they got creative with it. It is important for educators to provide valuable feedback while respecting the work that they put into the writing assignment. If a student needs to make alterations to the writing assignment, the teacher must level with them one-on-one in order to keep their drive for success high. Educators must urge them to seek their peers for review of their work, all while reminding them that it is okay to ask questions at all times. Lastly, and arguably most importantly, students need to be granted unlimited revisions of their work in order to ensure they are submitting the best work possible. Group work has also been proven to be one of the most effective ways of urging students to become proficient readers and writers. Collaborative learning allows students to reciprocate ideas and concepts with one another, providing additional insight on texts that may be difficult to understand. Providing students with the complete and total control of the discussion, with supervision of course, will increase their responsibility for their own education as well as influencing them to get more involved with the assigned work. The fundamental goals I aim to achieve in my future classroom begins with getting students to fall in love with reading and writing. I do not believe it will be an easy task, but as long as I establish trust between me and my students, I believe I can gear them to become lifelong readers and avid writers in and outside of an academic setting, no matter the direction they choose to take in life. The resources I utilize to create my philosophy of teaching, reading, and writing are listed in the description of this video. Thank you for watching.